And welcome back to Metropole Sports Center. My name is Nashon Oano. As I promised you in the third part of the show, we are going to be talking about how much the National Hockey League makes and the financial potential of the club. Now, the following are just some of the things that you need to understand about the National Hockey League. Now, the President's Trophy winner takes home a total of $500,000, and the first round losers take home $2 million. That is $250,000 each to 8 teams. Now, the second round losers take home $2 million with $500,000 each to 4 teams. Now, third round losers take home $2.5 million and $1.25 million to each of the 2 teams. Now, the Stanley Cup finalists take home $2.25 million, and the Stanley Cup champion take home $3.75 million. That's a lot of money you're talking about sports. That's why we keep on having this conversation on Metropole Sports Center in terms of what needs to professionalize, what needs to be done to professionalize the sporting games in Kenya. Because as you're looking at the numbers right now, it's a lot of money. Picture a situation where when you get players professionally and you get in the right sponsors into the club so that the club is self-sustainable. Gone are the days when we have to sit down and look at the government for the all of support, when we have talent that can be harnessed to provide a source of income for individuals who are talented. Now, the following is just the revenue earnings in the National Hockey League. And there's a pattern that you need to look at in the National Hockey League. In a time span between 2012 to 2020, there's been an increase in terms of the prize money that is given to the teams that are winning in the league. Now, the following is just how the numbers stand up. That is from the 2012 to 2013 season. The revenue earnings in the National Hockey League were $13 million. 2013 to 2014, that is $13 million. In 2014 and 2015 season, a total revenue earnings of $14 million was realized in the National Hockey League. 2015-2016, $14 million. 2016-2017 season, $15 million. In 2017-2018, that is $15 million. And in 2018-2019, $16 million. And then in 2019-2020 season, the revenue earnings in the National Hockey League was $32 million. Remember, even at the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic that had brought to a halt many sporting activities in the world, the National Hockey League was still making money. That's a lot of money that locally, if it was translated locally, it would have been able to sustain some of the players who were suffering a lot during the whole duration of COVID when they didn't have something to do. Now, Dexter, that's a lot of money in sports. Do you think we are ever going to get to that point where we are going to be realizing that amount of profit in the sporting world in our country?
Yes, Nation. We are only going to realize such figures if we ourselves begin this process of making sure that sports in this country is a profit venture, is a profit and loss venture, is a business per se. We need to move from that time when sports was just something for leisure. Now we need to look at sports from another different dimension, and this is the direction that perhaps Young United Football Club is taking now. That now we are business, and business about profits, about losses, it's about it's about now getting serious with this entire process.
Yes. I know Young United Football Club is still something that is new. Talk to us about some of the steps or some of the structures that you're putting in place to ensure that the club is self-sustainable.
This is just to make sure that the club is sustainable, and I think when you speak sustainability, it's just about speaking business. If I can get your question, some of the things that we just need to do is to make sure that as a company we will have shareholders, and that is the phase that we are in right now. So if you're out there and you feel like you've always wanted to own a football club, this is the moment to speak with us, because we are building something, football for the future, and a football club for the future, a football club, a modern football club that people will come and look at a sustainable business. And that would make sure that we have a management and we have shareholders in the club. People who clearly understand the business aspect those are business people. So business people who bring the business aspect in football. Those are the people that we are looking to having.
Okay.
Yes.
Dexter, last year when the whole COVID situation started, sporting activities were stopped without a clear direction in terms of what will be the next step. I know most organizations and most individuals suffered a lot because the source of income was brought to a standstill. I remember there was a footballer who got into the border business. Talk to us about the shift that you guys had to make because of the whole situation of COVID-19.
Okay, Young United is a product of strategic planning. So that is one of the greatest aspects that again we need to look into. And having been a product of strategic planning, somehow you always look at the next 2 years, the next 3 years, the next 5 years. So when the pandemic came, we were in that small baby steps transition stage. And the transition was, we've been selling our merchandise and we've been playing football on one side. So what happened? When we were told that we wouldn't continue playing football, the physical side of it, we just transited from the football physical side to the business side, which was the merchandising side. That is the only thing that we would do. So we played football from the merchandising part of it. And it really helped because for the first time we made a good profit in terms of books. And even though some sports organizations and even businesses folded up, for us, it was a very good time, and we really did something that we are really proud of. And this will be the benchmark in regards to where we are going as a business. So the critical stage was that moment where we had strategically put in place this department that was doing some mini business and this department that was doing football. So when football stopped, we jumped into the business side. When football has resumed, we are doing both phases of it. And even moving forward, this will be the way forward for us.
Now, my colleague, that is John McCauley, who celebrated his birthday this week, is probably wondering, is he too old to join the Young United football clubs, or does he need to get his or her siblings to come and join the club? Talk to us about the age gap in terms of people that need to be joining Young United Football Club. Do you have like a time frame, of when people should join?
Okay, our football structure, we have four stages. Players join at under 11 stage. So there's an under 11, there's an under 13, there's an under 15, and the under 17. The under 17 is pretty much our senior team for the last 2 years. And good news, we are going to introduce some two structures. We are going to introduce an under 9 category, which will be the introduction phase of production and development. And now we'll have the senior most team that will be the under 20. What you can note is that for us, we just produce and develop, and that is in our strategic plan. We do not want to match up the Gor Mahias and the FC Leopards and all that. We just want to be the most reliable feeder club to the Kenya Premier League teams, East African teams, the likes of Simba, and maybe to the African teams, the Al Ahlis of this world, and the eventual parties moving players overseas. And those are actually the structures. We're going to add the two. But if anybody like the gentleman that you've mentioned wants to come in, they can come in as a shareholder, and we always have some football amongst ourselves and our members, our parents, and our fans. So there is space for him.
Okay. Yeah. So Makali, you've passed the age of playing football. It's time for you to start thinking as a shareholder. So get in touch with Dexter and continue the conversation. Now, Dexter, the key thing that maybe we need to talk about is why is it important to start harnessing talent from as young as that? Because it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not hard harnessing talent from as young as 9. Why was it important for you guys to start, you know, training people from the age of 9 and up to a certain age threshold?
Honestly, I think that it is common, and it's common sense, that anything that wants to be grown has to start from a very young time and a young stage. And we go to school from way back when we are young, so that we can grow through that process. And just like any other thing, sports is a process, and sports is life. So it is better to start early, and just when you start early, you have an opportunity to maybe divert at some point in your life, you get. But when you start late, then you've already lost everything. You've already lost time, you've already lost, sometimes you even lost your ambitions. And so it is very important, especially in sports, with all the benefits that sports bring. It is very important for somebody to be able to start at a very young age, moving all through. Yes.
Okay. So it's key that people start when they are young, so that they can harness their whole potential. I know I've asked this before. Do you see a situation where Kenya is going to be a fully fledged, the sporting scene in Kenya is going to be a fully fledged business organizations? Because let's face it, I was talking about the numbers here. It's a lot of money, you know, money that, say for example, if you're given right now, pretty sure you can build, you can even get a piece of land, you know, and build a whole football academy. But the question is, how far are we to getting there? What are some of the hurdles that first of all we need to overcome before we can get to that point where I can say Dexter is a football player, and that is where his whole livelihood is, and he can be able to sustain himself even without getting formally employed?
Nation, just like I said, it first begins with our perception. We need to change the perception. And then when we change the perception, that means that we need to do some things in regards to making sure that that sports is a lucrative business. So we cannot just sit and wait for things to happen. It means that we need to start, however small. Let's start with the way we are starting. Let's start from there. Somebody else take up that mantle. Let us push consultatively and together. Let us push for this particular agenda, that sports now needs to be viewed as a business, as a lucrative activity that brings in money, that employs people. It is a change of perception, but it will not change if we do not do something about it. And it's not like it is not happening, because let me speak about football. We have football clubs, the Kenya Premier League. People are paying, people are earning from football. It has improved over the time. So if we can only put in more effort to make these businesses, to make people understand that when a player just comes from home and goes to play for Gor Mahia, they're not only just going to play to express themselves, but they are going there to do a particular task, a job that is going to pay their bills at home. So people need to understand that football, sport, and any other sport, as a matter of fact, is an employment to people. And then these conversations need to continue each and every place, like the ones that we're having right now. People need to go to somewhere else, have these conversations, that we need to start embracing sports as an economic generator in this country, and push for these agendas, push for platforms where we can continuously have these conversations. And not only now conversations, now take these conversations to another level. Take these conversations into lobbying to make sure that these critical appointments that are in government, these critical appointments need to be to have people who clearly now understand what sports is and where sport needs to go in relation to business. And this makes it easier, because they will take up this responsibility. We will come up with strategic frameworks to make sure that all these things are now put in place to make sure that sports is a business. But it starts from us and lobbying and making sure that people at the top who are decision makers clearly understand that sports is a business.
Okay. Apart from, I know we've talked a lot about the right appointments in terms of the people that are handling the sport. What are some, because the reality is we cannot run away from talking about the government, because whether we like it or not, the government has a role to play, because they are the overseers of everything that we do, and they are much more capable of doing certain things that we as individuals cannot do. Now, apart from the government, right government appointments, from where you sit from Young United Football Clubs, what are some of the things that probably, the minimal things that can probably be done to ensure that organizations such as the Young United Football Club and others that are out there can have the opportunity to flourish? Because the environment is very much important. You know, you can be having a very good idea, but you're in the wrong environment and things cannot work out for you. So what are some of the minimal things that can be done to ensure that organizations that like yourselves can flourish in the society?
First and foremost, just like you said, we cannot wish away the government, and we cannot wish away politics at the end of the day. But okay, what can we do maybe as from the political class, because everything stems out from there? Are there any bills that we're taking maybe in Parliament to make sure that, that the sports bills, just to make sure that sporting activities, when it comes to maybe revenue, when they're dividing revenue and all that, that the sports sector per se has a particular increase in terms of revenue, so that when time comes when now the likes of we now need support, then maybe there are monies that we can be able to get, because it's a pretty expensive venture. Football per se, I will speak on my side of the sport. On football, football is a pretty expensive venture. So we need support from the government. But then again, the willingness maybe to take these bills to Parliament for increase in terms of revenue to the sports department or the sports, the Ministry of Sports. But then again, just like we were saying, we can do that. We can start from there, maybe. But if we do not have people who have the goodwill in that ministry again, to make sure that the kind of Young Uniteds and all other well-structured football clubs that are out there that need support will get this support, then we are never going anywhere. So it means that where we need to start is cracking the whip in terms of making sure that anybody who sits, especially at the ministry, is somebody who clearly understands what is going on, is somebody who can have conversations, and now maybe even have this conversation from the political side, that as a ministry, we need additional revenue to be able to support so and so and so, to be able to support such and such clubs. Maybe take these small donations now to the community clubs that more times than not are not being given priority. But you can only come with such stuff if you have a heart for that particular maybe job. But majority, and I will tell you for a fact, the majority of people who are in the sports ministry do not have a heart for sports, and that is why they are being shortchanged. That is why they will never make enough noise. Maybe when in the division of revenue bills and all that, they will never do that. And if they ever do that, then maybe whatever they get never really comes
to the
people that are supposed to have it. So the thing that we need to do, and I'm going to hit at this more so many more times, that we need to push for the right people in these spaces.
Okay. Yes. As we wrap up, Dexter, the fans or the people around have a part to play in this whole organization. I know we love the English Premier League, but how do we support the young football club that is around us? How do we support such organization? Tell us, what are some of the things that probably we as the fans of the English Premier League can do to support? Because the reality is we invest a lot of emotions in the English Premier League and also resources in the English Premier League and other leagues. So what can we do to support organizations like yourself?
First and foremost, it's not wrong. That is what I will say, because we borrow and live from there and bring whatever that we have here. But most importantly is, and I always ask everybody, is that Do they know you? Do they need you?
Yeah.
But we need you. Young United needs Nation today to buy a jersey, to buy a polo. And it's direct touch. You can be able to reach the chairman of Young United Football Club. It is a boyhood club, probably. Yeah. It is a hood club. This is where you've grown. I am the person that you're supposed to be investing a lot in terms of money, in terms of emotions in. The English Premier League, the Chelseas, or the Barcelonas and all that, they're just supposed to be a by the way.
Yeah.
But we are supposed to build ourselves. If you look at these clubs, the Liverpools and everybody, the fan base is the community in that, around that club.
Yeah.
They're the ones who have invested heavily. So why are you investing heavily in Kenya, in Liverpool?
Yeah.
And they already have investment from people who build those clubs. Build your own club. Come build Young United Football Club, a football club that you'll be proud of when the time comes and it's playing in the Kenya Premier League, and maybe it is selling players to those European clubs, and you'll be saying to Everton fans on Twitter and all those social media places, you'll be telling them that this boy that you're taking is from my boyhood club, is from the club, my beloved club. So I've invested heavily, I've bought merchandise, I've been buying tickets, and I am so proud that we are giving you a player in the English Premier League. So you need to invest in these organized football clubs that like that we have here at Young United Football Club. Invest emotions, invest your monies, and grow local clubs. Grow your own. Do not go out and embrace other people's projects. Embrace your own.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dexter, for finding time. I know we can continue the whole conversation about sports and mentorship for the rest of the day. But there you have it. It doesn't mean that when you're supporting Arsenal and Liverpool, you cannot support organizations such as the Young Football Club, the Young Footballers Club, and other young clubs that are coming up within you. As he said, most of the international clubs that you are supporting are probably based in the locality that they're in. So do the little that you can to support such a noble organization that are supporting and promoting talent within the country. Well, that's all the time that we had on Metropole Sports Center. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week, same place, same time.